You know, it's like
I don't like that door.
I'm sitting next to Ecom.
No, but you're gonna cut that off. Yours will not be there.
Me to work hard.
Yours not gonna be
there.
We're gonna crop it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you can fix it when I sit down.
It's more flowing.
Andrew leads you, so you don't need to worry. Just do what he says and you just work with
flowing, yeah.
it. Just don't say anything that the wife gets offended.
This is like the podcast here once again.
Blessings.
My
Good to be
brethren,
here.
Tennyson in the house.
Blessings, everyone.
All right, so we're going to talk about the process, but what we're going to start is just a small introduction and to tell me who you are. Who is Tennyson?
Who am I?
Yes.
Who am I? Well,
I don't know if those lyrics will fit here.
that's a loaded question.
Uh-huh.
I am who I am.
Mhm.
I was put here for a purpose, for
Yep.
a reason. I exist in a space, in a time. I'm blessed enough to share space with some excellent, wonderful humans.
That's why we're doing this.
And, this is exciting time. We're getting a voice,
Mhm.
and we hope to empower the younger generation. And I suppose if you had to sum it up, who am I? Wow.
It's a tough question, but
I'm the person that is not afraid of the struggle.
mhm.
I don't take a shortcut
Mhm.
because I was blessed enough to be raised by an inspiring grandmother who taught me that we can fight for everything.
What's your grandmother's name?
Oh,
We always have to call out the name.
I always got to shout out Miss
Yeah.
Ines because I stand on her shoulders,
Mhm.
If it wasn't for her, she taught me how to be a man, how to be a human. She gave me everything I needed to survive now and forevermore. In parable, some of it I just started figuring it out.
Mhm.
But she was way ahead of her time, and she was blessed.
Yeah.
And she made sure her grandkids, especially her grandsons, were prepared to deal with this life.
Yeah, so that's why when I talk about this, because it's the Dixon Legacy podcast, and I really focus on the legacy piece, right? So if it wasn't for your parents or your grandparents, we wouldn't be here right now,
Real.
right?
Talk.
So who is your mother and your father?
Well, hope that Ramsey, God rest his soul, and my mother Veronica,
Okay,
who is still kicking with us and
Yes.
still sprightly as ever.
big up Veronica.
And I hope I get to live as long as she does.
You will.
Yeah.
The women in my family, they live forever, man.
Mhm.
If I recall, I think she's my great grand aunt. She was the oldest woman in the world. She died at 117, I think.
Really?
Yeah. Her son.
Is that in the record books?
Yeah, she was
Okay.
a Guinness World Record, the oldest woman.
Okay.
And her son died at 96.
Wow.
She outlived him.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping for some of that long life and good health and the love and meeting good people and
Absolutely.
sharing space with good folks.
Okay, so this is the question I ask everybody: how many licks did you get when you?
How many licks? Okay.
I can tell by the laughter was enough.
And I would like to say this.
Yeah.
I'm responsible for my grandmother living to be 96 or 97.
Okay.
Because she got a lot of exercise.
Okay.
I kept her fit.
Okay.
Listen, man. I was one of those kids. My grandmother was from a time where she don't do this.
Yeah.
I got to figure out why not.
Right.
She would never tell you why not.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I got to find out why not. And why not came with some licks.
Right.
But it also came with some blessings because she had a way of beating you while in the Holy Spirit. So I guess it rules too much.
Very nice. Yeah. All right. So what we're talking about? So we're talking about the process, but in order to get the process, we have to understand what is your passion, right? So we talk about what is your side hustle and what is your passion. We kind of put the two together, right? Because ideally, what we want you to do is move your passion, which is your side hustle, into your main hustle, right? So what is your passion? What drives you?
What is my passion? Oh,
Yes.
man. Well, it's funny. It's a weird question because if you had asked me that maybe 2 years ago, I would have told you something else. Now,
Okay.
what's my passion? My passion is life. I love life. I love to live. I want to live. I want to meet people. I want to share. I want to inspire. I love life. That's my passion, just to live and to I emulate people. I I like to be a positive role model for others. And oh yeah, I almost forgot. How could I forget this? I love basketball, man.
All right.
I love basketball. I love to teach. I love coaching. I miss it. And COVID kind of messed me up, but yeah, man. The young folks as coaches, we don't get enough credit because you get to inspire. You're the lawyer. You're the social worker. You're part-time parent. You're the driver. You're everything.
Yeah.
And you, most of all, you're influencing young folks even when you don't know that you're influencing them. So you just got to conduct yourself a different way and know that others are watching you. So I love that.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So one of the things I talk about, especially the parents when we do the coaching, is like a lot of the power has been taken away from the parents, right? A lot of the power has been taken away from the teachers. You know what I mean? But one of the last elements left is the coaches. So the coaches can still reach out to the kids. The coaches can still sort of discipline the kids in a way, right?
Yeah.
And get them sort of to listen to them, right? So the coaches is so important because they're the last sort of true mentors that are out there that still have a voice left.
Well, look, let's keep it real, right?
Yeah.
Kids, it's hard to be a child in this day, and every generation goes through that, right? But it's hard because there's so much distraction. When we were kids, we didn't have all the distractions of the cell phone, the iPods, the social, what do you call it? The social media. And so, especially, for example, let's do sports.
Yeah.
For example, kids showed up at a gym and they just train.
Yeah.
Now, they show up at the gym, they talk about what they're going to do to their friends before they even go and start anything. Before they even learn to dribble, they want to do a finger roll, right?
Yeah.
And so it's a different time. And so sometimes when you can break it down and keep it real, that's the thing about kids. If you hold them accountable, they will, reluctantly sometimes, but they'll understand. Because you're there for their benefit, and they know that once you develop trust, they know you're not going to lie to them.
So they do understand because
they're smarter than we are, man.
Yes, and I think a lot of them know that they need the structure. So as much as everybody wants to be free, they know they need the structure because once again it leads back to the process. So the process, you can't fool the process. You can't skip steps in the process. You
need to try, but guess what? You always come back, man.
You have to.
That's the difference between those who make it. That's the difference between those who make it and those who don't.
That's correct.
Right? You can't start on the third rung of a step.
Yeah.
You gotta go from the bottom up, man. Even if you can jump up to the third rung, why would you? Step by step.
Yeah.
Because everything that you miss, you're gonna have to come back to.
That's correct.
And some kids don't want to hear that, but guess what? This is not for everybody. Yeah. Some kids want to hear it, and some kids are willing to go through the process, and put the steps in. And those are the ones we try to reach.
Yeah.
We're not going to reach everybody.
And those are the ones that would be successful.
Those are the ones who
don't want to hear it, and the ones who want to take the shortcut. When that hard piece that comes in, it's because of the experience that you had from going to the second one that will get you by that hard piece. If you miss that experience from going to that second rung, then you won't be able to beat that hard piece because you didn't have that experience because you skipped the step.
There you go.
You know what I mean? Like that's an important part that everybody forgets.
Hey, look.
You know what I mean?
Hey, most of your people are parents, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll give you this analogy. You are a business owner, and you have dreams of your son, for example, taking over the business.
Okay.
Right. So now, your son starts on Monday morning. Do you make your son the vice president and you're the president?
No.
Or do you put him in the mailroom or do you go
put him in the mailroom? Janitor, right? Yeah.
Learn to read the map. Use a map. Once you get good, then you can run the janitorial department.
Yeah.
Because look, most business fails not because somebody steals $1 million, but because they steal 10 cents, 20 cents, 30 cents. If he learned to be a janitor. When he becomes the president, all of a sudden, his products, he notices, hey, I'm spending
Yes.
$50 on cleaning material instead of 10. Why?
Yes. He's gonna notice the
He's
10
gonna
cent
make, he's
missing.
gonna notice,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But if you start him at the top or next to the top, what does he know?
that's correct.
So for me, as a parent, you're doing a disservice to the child.
Hmm.
My wife would call it abuse. You know, don't be afraid to let them get their fingernails dirty. So that way you know early. But here's the key. This is key. You have to be honest with yourself. You gotta know your child.
Yeah.
Because that's probably the hardest thing for parents to do. Is to know that the person just not right for the person, the position or the teaching, and put them in it anyway.
Yeah.
You just got to be honest with your child.
Right.
That's part of the process.
I don't know, man. I feel like you're talking about LeBron and Bronny.
No, man, no. Listen. My thing is this: everybody got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I never. How do I put this? I've never taught down a parent for wanting their son to be just like them.
Mm-hmm.
I never taught down a child to want to be just like the parent. It's been going on
For years.
Yeah. Even if you look at, even for example, since we brought it up, is the Lakers. The owner, she got the team from her dad.
Yeah.
So
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, and that's business,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
if he wants to play with his dad and his dad wants to play with him, hey, you got the power to do that.
He does have the
I
power to
mean,
do it, yeah.
It's like yesterday, that wouldn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday, we couldn't even play basketball and get paid for it.
That's correct. Yeah.
So to be able to do this now, power to him.
That's correct. That's one thing I agree. Because back in the day, a player never had the power to influence their owner at all.
No.
And to even have that power to say, you're going to pick my son, and the owner says, okay, that's massive.
Yeah.
It's massive, man.
I mean, for me, it's a good time. I like what I see, but we're still not there yet.
Got a long way to go.
Yeah. It's a long way to go. It's only listen, when they open the door a crack and you step through and you think you're there, that's where you make a mistake.
That's correct. That's when the work begins.
You're just through the door in the room.
Yeah.
There's lots to be done in the room.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, hey, power to him, man.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. So how did you discover the process?
Well, again, back to my grandmother, right? Because she never let me skip no steps. It was kind of funny because I was thinking about that the other day. I was about 8 or 9.
Okay.
And it was 3 of us, my 2 cousins and my grandmother living together, and she got the stroke within. It was late at night, and
Okay.
she woke me up. And why me over the other 2? I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's like she knew. I said to a friend of mine, it's like she instilled in me a certain spirit to survive, to be better. I don't know. She just had that thing about her that she could just see and put things in people that she knew was ready for it.
Okay.
And I guess she thought I was, and so she demanded certain things of me, and and it became a learning process. So as boys, we had to learn to wash, cook, iron, sew, clean, all that stuff, man.
Yeah.
And then more so pronounced when we got sick and she couldn't do it for ourselves. We had to do it ourselves, getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning, carrying water, filling a drum before school, and all that stuff. And then, you make sure you went to school, and you could be late. I don't know where this Jamaican time come from, because,
I know, man.
you could be late going to school. Man.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think I would have to give it to her that I got that start from her, the burning desire. Plus, I came across a lot of literature when I was younger, and I got into the love for poetry and philosophy, and I started studying some people that I thought, were studying, and found out later that they were not.
Okay.
So, but it's kind of weird because one of the I give thanks to my grandmother because she raised 3 boys and a girl, well, 4 boys and a girl, grandkids, and she made sure she instilled in us the value of hard work and just being good community members, and you know. So I guess it started from way back then. Plus, like I was saying, I was a reader, so I was into the philosophy and poetry and all them things, and I came across a poem a lot, quite some time ago. I'm not going to tell you a whole lot,
Okay.
long time ago, and
Donkey years
ago, from before Wappy can fill up, in Jamaican terms. And it's like this. I've never seen a wild thing feel sorry for itself. A bird would fall frozen from above will happen when once felt sorry for itself. And back then I didn't know what it meant. But you grow, and then with your grandmother's tutelage and her parables and her discipline, and you start to figure out your own, and what's right, what you can live with, what you don't like. And as you grow and you travel and you meet people, you'll start to say, wait a minute. Oh, I see now. That's what she meant by this. That's what she meant by that. Because, she gave you stuff. It's weird because it's like she knew she wasn't going to be here forever, or I wasn't going to be around. So she gave me everything I needed. But even when she thought I wasn't listening, I was. And I just didn't understand it. Yeah. And then, now I use it almost on a daily, and I can't have a conversation with her talking about it because, she was that much of an inspiration. And so I guess if I had to give any beginning to this process, that's where it started.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, that's why legacy is so important. That's why legacy so important. And that's why I think we have to be intentional. So that's one of my questions is like, what are you intentionally doing to continue your legacy, right? Because remember, your legacy is not what you create, it's what other people think of you, right? So all you can do is live and then be intentional with the way you're living, and then others will sort of take that from you. And then what I always kind of say is, when people say the name Andrew Dixon and it puts a smile on their face, that means I did a good thing.
Well, it's a great question, man, because there's a scripture that I read a long time ago. It says, if a man dies, shall he live again? And I put my own spin on it. I said, when a man dies, will he live again? And what does that mean? Every day I tell Mama stories, so she never dies.
That's right.
Mama said this. Mama used to say that. Mama used to say this. So she's had a great impact and a great influence on me. So that's legacy building. Yeah. I tell my children those stories. And then I have my own stories.
Yeah.
And so what does a legacy building look like? I don't know. When I'm gone, that's the only time you'll know, because
that's correct.
What impact did I leave?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay, look. To be less than cynical, a man born and a man dies. No. So I like to say the difference there's no difference. If you go to a graveyard, there's no difference. You see a man's birthday, the dash, and the man's end date or his expiry date. And I challenge you, go to 10 different headstones and tell me the worth of that individual.
That's correct.
All the dashes are all the same length.
Yes.
All the dashes look relatively the same.
That's correct.
What did that person do along, I like to call it the timeline. What did they do along the timeline? And for me, that tells you all you need to know. In life, in death, we're all the same. What did you do along the timeline?
That's correct. Because you gotta leave something for that.
Well, it's advisable.
Yeah.
You should,
So I mean, but that's why I'm saying intentionally, right? So we have to sort of think of, a lot of times you just go along in life and we do, right? But intentionally, like, you have to sort of consciously think of, in order for you to leave that legacy, you have to be consciously thinking of it, right? So I'm going to consciously do the right thing. I'm going to consciously impart this to my kids. I'm going to consciously sort of mentor other individuals. I'm going to consciously do this kind of stuff, right? Because what you want them to do is you want them to be able to take a little bit of that and then be successful themselves based off of them just hearing what you said.
Yeah. Look,
You know?
okay, you're born where you're born, right?
Yeah.
You're either born in a rich family or you're not.
Yeah.
I was born black.
Mm.
And so you have a responsibility when the opportunity arises. You must do what you must. You must have to do what you can to empower other
Yes.
people that look like you. Because I know for a fact, when I was coming up in the workplace, in the schools, no one looked like me
Mm-hmm.
that were of prominence, so to speak.
Yes.
So if I ascend to a point of being able to effect change, it's my duty to do that.
Yes.
I must do that. Because if I don't, who knows when it will be before someone gets another opportunity to do it.
That's correct.
And so, there's a quote, what's it? Great power comes great responsibility.
Yes, with great power comes great responsibility. Yeah.
You got to do what you can, right? And you may not get it all done, but it may be a start.
That's correct.
But look, what do I do? Every day I get up, I'm intentional. If my job is to put more people in the seat that look like me, then so be it.
Yeah.
If my job is to mentor, so be it. If my job is to counsel, so be it.
Yeah.
But I cannot just get up every day and occupy space and then say, oh yeah, life is great.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that. You have to you should be able to contribute to humanity in a positive way. So when you depart from this life, and again, at that point, I won't care because I'm gone.
No, yeah, exactly.
But when you depart from this life, it would be nice to say, hey, when I see this, I think of him.
That's correct.
When I see that, when I hear this, I think of him. And that's what I do.
Yeah, and when you think of it, it's the ripple effect, right? So when the drop of water falls in, right, who gets affected first? The people closest to that drop of water.
Yeah.
Right? And then as it expands, all those people that are wider out of that circle will feel the effects of that, right? So really and truly, you're affecting your family first.
That's right.
Typically, your closest people is your family.
Mm-hmm.
And then extended family members, and then friends, right? And then coworkers, and then sort of friends of friends, right? Like that's how it works.
And look here. So I'm a writer, so I do a little bit of writing,
and every time we come together, we try and take a little bit of time and come and do this, right?
Yeah.
But I think we're doing it too late. We have to start doing it earlier. You know what I mean? So that way we can get more people in. But I am going to bring you back, and you need to bring that book with you, and you need to read some chapters.
Listen, man, the journey to 1,000 steps begins with the first.
That's right. The process.
The
process, exactly what we're talking about today.
Doesn't matter how late you start, as long as you start.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Look, can I share something with you before we go?
Yes. Yeah. We're closing out now.
So, when was it? Well, I went through a little bit of illness, right?
Yeah.
So I had to work my way back from that.
Yeah.
So, I started saying to myself, I got to push myself. That's the beauty about playing sports, individual sports as well as team sports.
Yeah.
So I started off not being able to do one push-up.
Mm.
And I remember playing these games as a child.
Yeah.
So if I did one, the next day I do two.
Yeah.
The next day I do three. And no matter how badly I'm feeling, do it 4 or 5. I got to make that number.
Okay.
No excuse. I have to make that number. And I started off not being able to do one.
Yeah.
Now I went up 30 because 30 was my goal. Okay. When I got to 30, I got to do 4 sets of 30.
Okay.
Once I can do 30 4 times, my next goal is going to be 40.
Yeah.
Then I do 4 sets of 40.
Yeah.
And so, that's a process.
That's the process.
That's a process. You got to trust the process. You got to believe the process. And the most important thing I'm going to tell you, you can't cheat the process.
Yes.
I'm going to tell you, you can't cheat the process.
Yes. So I'm going to tell you a story. So we coach the boys, and one of the things that we were doing was passing the basketball, right? So we had to then set up 5 in a circle.
Yeah.
5 individuals in a circle. And when we first started it, we was like, okay, do you think we can get to, I think the number was 70.
80.
Yeah, 80, right? Everybody's like, no, it's impossible. We can't get to 80, right? So I think when we first did it the first time, we were like, 30? I think we got to 30 or 40, something like that. Did it again, got to 30 or 40, something like that, right? And he's like, no, it's impossible. We can't get to 80, right? So he switched it up, giving the heavy ball.
Mm-hmm.
They did the heavy ball.
Yeah.
Then we gave him the regular ball again, right? Smashed it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we said, so now you know that you can push beyond the boundaries and actually make it. So after you tried 2 or 3 times, you only got to 30 or 40.
Yeah.
Give you the heavy ball. We just made a slight adjustment. So what Coach Leo said is, okay, take a step in. So they take a step in, boom, boom, boom. All of a sudden we got to, I think it was 70 or 80 at the time.
70.
Right? Yeah. And then we're like, okay, so take a step back. Now we're back to the original position that we were before.
Yeah.
What they do, got the same number.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So all we did is change one element of it.
That's right.
And all of a sudden you went from getting 30s and 40s where you thought there's no way we'll get to 80.
Yeah.
We changed one element. You know what I mean?
It's amazing how the human mind thinks, man. It fascinates me actually because
that's correct. And now we're up to like 140. I think we're at right now. Yeah.
There you go.
You know?
Because you lose because I tell you, collectively, individually, they may be able to say, you know what, I can do it, but collectively as a group,
yeah,
they're like, but once you take away that thing that's holding you back,
that's correct.
And you instill in yourself freedom.
The sky's the limit.
Do it.
Yeah.
The sky's the limit, man.
Yeah.
And here's the funny thing: it's not even about sports. That's life.
Yes.
And if they can understand that and get that, for me as a coach, I'm a successful
That's
coach.
right.
Man.
That's what we tell them, and that's what we tell the parents. Like, what we're teaching you is not just basketball skills, it's life skills.
Yeah.
And it will take you through business, finances, your relationships, your relationship with your parents, like everything.
Yeah.
It's transcendent, man. And we talk about the process, but what you do here, if you do the same thing at home, if you do the same thing in relationship, the same thing in business, the success will happen in all realms.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
And listen, I know we're talking about the process, but as coaches, I got to remind you too, it's a process.
Yeah.
Because, we're human beings and we want to make sure everything goes right and we want to be a winning team and we all, but listen, sometimes you're going to get blown up by the 49ers.
That's correct.
It's a process.
And that's how you learn.
And and as coaches, we always learning too. I hope so. Because, that's what it's all about, right?
Yes, absolutely. So thank you very much for coming.
Blessings, man.
Subscribe, comment, like, share. And next time we're coming back, you're reading excerpts of your book.
That's a promise, man.
Big things.
Big things.
All right, man. Respect, man. Lovely. All right. That's good, man. That was good. Listen, man.